Three subjects interest me very much: sustainable wealth, strategy, and self-help. I like to think about wealth because I relate it to the availability of resources. Resources that can be used to improve oneself, communities, or a country at large. Strategy for me stands as the means to achieve goals considering the least future consequences, or side effects that may result in a vicious cycle. Self-help because I believe we as humans usually have self-destructive tendencies which, if we aren't careful on a personal, family, or community level, may become repetitive and result in a personal, family, or community pattern. Bad strategies used in acquiring wealth may lead you to a cycle of negatives that may precipitate your downfall. This goes the same for the quest for power, fame, or glory. For you to have better strategies, one should invest in learning about how to better themselves and their approaches. Dreams, goals, and ambitions, at least for me, mean less if when achieved cannot be sustained. The world might be full of people who want a bright spot, even if for 5 minutes, and they will be happy with that. But for me, that is just a foolish game. As you plot your advancements, the same energy should go to thinking about keeping your wins and your exit if need be. This has made me interested in reading about the great ambitious men we have now or in history. Some I love, some I don't. Still, I observe all that I can. Studying about the great men in our lives or history, I believe, can help individuals sustain the positives in their lives, or at least protect them. As much as they learn from their ambitions, wins, and victories, they should also learn from their mistakes, miscalculations, and downfalls, if it can help them avoid similar mistakes in their lives. Therefore, throughout history, you will notice there are countless stories of individuals who rose above their challenges. These individuals came from nothing, and from the worst circumstances to achieve great feats that left their names in history books. With ambition, wit, and brevity, they conquered their fear, weaknesses, opponents, and mindsets that prevented them from rising to the top. Some maintained their successes and became idolized. Others climbed the mountain of success only to stay there for a while and collapse. Others made a stand, and even in their demise left strong examples for the people they left. Others got greedy, and their success made them the worst of kinds. These stories always left me with a question: why strive to have the success you can't maintain? Is this a human story? Was all the efforts worth it? Why bother yourself with goals, dreams, and ambitions to achieve things which, once you have them, can't sustain? One of the interesting historical figures that my readings have brought me to is Marcus Licinius Crassus. Crassus encompasses everything I said in the introduction. He is someone who modern ambitious men can relate to in this day and age. Also, he is someone whose story of envy, cunning, and greed can be noticed in our modern age. Today, I will go through his story of struggles, ambition, achievements, and downfall as a cautionary tale for a modern, ambitious young person. Whether you want to achieve big dreams, you want to make a name for yourself, or even when you are struggling right now, Crassus's story might give you hope and motivate you, but also leave you with a bitter taste at his ending, reminding us of the dangers of unchecked greed, envy, and ambitions. Marcus Licinius Crassus was born in a tumultuous time and experienced tumultuous events growing up. In his youth, he had to flee to Hispania due to Marian-Cinnan proscriptions and purges. He had also lost his father and younger brother during this time. He stayed in Spain for 3 years and rebuilt himself in the same place, slowly, using his father's clients who had settled in the area and plotted his rise from there. He went from owning nothing, being a runaway from Marian-Cinnan purges, to re-establishing himself back to the Roman army, meanwhile, becoming a royal general to Lucius Cornelius Sulla, and eventually the richest man in Rome. Through this story, you can imagine the resolve and survival instinct one has to overcome the proscriptions, having no means to become an important figure in Roman politics. After Sulla's victory at the Battle of the Colline Gate, and Crassus's contribution to it, Crassus was in a key position since Sulla was as loyal to his allies as he was cruel towards his enemies. As a general, he played a key part during a civil war under Lucius Cornelius Sulla and won a victory over the slave revolt led by Spartacus. In politics, he became the financial patrol of Julius Caesar and later joined Caesar and Pompey to form a political alliance known as the First Triumvirate. In business, he used his position with Lucius Cornelius Sulla to amass wealth by acquiring cheap properties auctioned off from people facing Sulla's proscriptions. Cunning and unscrupulous, he used this opportunity to acquire properties he coveted. And this, in my opinion, is the moment his downfall started. With each rise, he coveted more and more wealth, glory, and fame. He could never reach a state where he could be satisfied, despite being the richest man in Rome. This story is common in our time today. Despite our achievements, we still envy the achievements of others. And despite our wealth, we still covet the properties of others. Oh, the dangers of wanting ourselves to be the only one in the spotlight, the only one with everything better. This is the point where success becomes unsustainable. Also, when he decided to obtain some of his wealth through war and calamities of others, he opened a level of unchecked greed that will never be quenched by more, envying Pompey and wanting to match him by seeking military glory and more wealth. This is when he made the miscalculation of invading Parthia, where he met his demise, leaving everything he worked hard for, with a reputation of the person who could never check his greed and envy. This leaves a cautionary tale of ambition turning into something evil, though we might argue the end justifies the means. In my opinion, some means just plant seeds of unsustainability. I think and believe there must be a balance in everything, whether in power, business, ambition, or politics. Just like a rubber band, every action of ours attracts a certain kind of reaction, and a good strategy should be in place to make sure our achievements create more positives than negatives. But this is my opinion. What do you think? Do you think ambition can never turn evil? Do you think Crassus's downfall was just a coincidence and had nothing to do with his actions? Let me know in the comments below.